in the trade show industry for the last 18 years in the B2B trade industry. I've worked in Hong Kong, in India, in the US, and in Europe. And I manage Latin America, North America, Asia. So I've traveled a lot, worked a lot around the world. And my experience has been in trade shows, and that's how I can talk about trade shows. Today, basically what we're going to talk about is how to prepare yourself before you exhibit. So Nick, your customers, once they finish your program and they need to sell their products to their buyers, they need to get into a trade show. How do they prepare after they're out of the Nova Labs program, and what they need to do is what we can talk about. During the show, what do they need to remember? How do they take benefit of the trade show and make best optimize their investments into the trade show? And then post-show, how do you follow up? Because many of the startups, they may or may not have an experience selling at the trade show, and after that, how do you follow up? Even the most experienced companies have a big challenge in follow-up. So this is a very important step. And what do you do? How do you characterize? So let's talk about that. And before that, I'll just put in a little bit about global sources, and I think Leonardo helped me introduce global sources already to some extent. But we have an online platform, online sourcing platform. We have trade shows, various trade shows that we organize, and we of course do startups. I mean, the numbers are very clear, you can read those numbers, but we've been in business for about 45 years. We were NASDAQ listed till about 2 months back, and now we are part of Blackstone Group. This time in October, we hosted about 300 hardware startups. Our target for our startups was to help them meet buyers. So buyers, by buyers I mean is retailers. Any of these startups, when they are ready, they want to meet retailers from around the world. They want to get into the next stage where once they get an order, they're able to get into getting new funding, they're able to expand their companies, and they're able to get into the hands of the consumer. It's not going to be directly selling. They can get some into hands of consumers on a Kickstarter, but Kickstarter or Indiegogo or any of these crowdfunding have a limitation to how much you can sell. So you need to get into the retail. So pre-show, you have to set your goals. I think in general life, whatever we do, whether we go to a job interview or whether we go to this event, we all set the goals. What do you want to achieve from being at the show? So you want to set your goals. You want to, whether it is, and different people have different goals from different trade shows. Whether it is to collect feedback about your product, you want to understand what the market talks about your product. Do they like your products? Or you want to get into the retail market, you want to expand into the retail market. How do you want to expand into the retail market? Do you want to collect purchase orders? Maybe your objective is only purchase orders. I want to take purchase orders so that my valuation of my startup goes up and then I'm able to sell it better. Or it is increased brand awareness. You don't want anything else. Right now, all you want is for people, more people to recognize your product. And each of these objectives are important because the steps that you take on site at the show are different based on each of these objectives. You got to set measurable goals, something that is quantifiable. There can be a lot of qualitative goals that you can set, but those you cannot measure. When you set quantitative goals, in the sense that how many buyers from how many countries do I want to reach at that show, that will help you decide which trade show to go to. Is this trade show even a good match? So for example, if somebody coming to start a Launchpad, they need to think about, okay, do I want to meet people from 60 to 100 countries? Am I ready there at that stage? Am I ready to be able to market my products to retailers which sell in large quantities and they would buy 5,000 to 10,000 pieces? Am I at that stage? If I'm not ready, so I should not go to that trade show. Maybe I go to a local show. So it all changes, right? What questions the number of questions that you want to ask each of the buyers that comes to your booth, are those questions prepared? Do you have 3 questions, 4 questions, 5 questions? Do you have those listed down? Do you have a buyer info form to collect per day? How many numbers of buyers do you want to collect? That's a data, that's quantifiable, you can collect that. and get back to buyers within how many hours? Have you set a goal that within 24 hours, within 48 hours, or within 72 hours, them meeting you, you're going to send a reply? Maybe it's you as the owner of the company, or you are having your team be prepared with these goals. What is the online to offline arrangement, and how are you going to direct traffic to your booth? So do you have an online presence somewhere, or are you going to just wait for the trade show company to get the buyers to you? What are you going to do to actively get those people to your booth? Are you going to have your emails, social media, website, Kickstarter, Indiegogo campaigns to drive traffic to your booth? If you, for example, have a product ready and you have already talked to 100, 200 people, and you know these guys are interested in your product, and that time when they talk to you, your prototype was not ready. For the trade show, now your prototype is ready. Do you want those people to come to your booth? Do you want to send invitations to them? When do you want to send invitations to them? You got to set all those timelines for yourself. You want to inform them your date, the show, the booth number, where the location is. All those things are important. Some of the people I've seen put that in their signature. As soon as you sign up for a booth, you put it in your signature. This is my booth number, this is the location, I'll be at this show. Please come meet. Remember to contact all previous buyers from all previous events, trade shows, conferences, whatever you've attended. You want to build that database. These days with MailChimp, with just providing your data, uploading it on MailChimp for yourself, you can actually maintain these lists pretty easily at a very low cost. You want to train your people pre-show. You don't want to just walk into a trade show and not have preparations done. You want all your sales teams or whoever is going to be at your booth to be prepared with some basic questions about the product. If it's a product, what are the specifications of the product? What is the functionality of the product? If it has different features, how do those features work? If it's an electronic product, there can be lots of things that work, don't work. If it's a Bluetooth connection, do you want them to explain if there is a different way of Bluetooth connects, or what is that challenge in the product? You should talk about the good things and also make them aware, your staff, to know about the flaws of the product, because many times prototypes at trade shows may have flaws, but you want to prepare them, because otherwise they're going to be fumbling in front of the buyer. What is FOB price and margin? I think most of you guys know FOB because it's Hong Kong, so everybody knows freight on board. But this is something that a lot of startups don't have people who know. The staff may or may not know. Previous export experience, if they don't have, you want to give them some basics. You want to bring in a guy like Leonardo who is experienced trade shows and talk about export experience, right? Competition, who's your competitors? Who are the other people they can compare your product with? You want to talk about, teach them about it. Otherwise they are lost. They don't know what they're talking about. They want to talk about the local marketing support. What will be the support that you will provide them? You want to educate them about that. Is there a team member who is going to do the local marketing when they need flyers, when they need some kind of marketing collateral to do? Who has made those things? If there are patent and IP issues, especially in Asia, when the buyers come, they are all worried about patents and IPs. And if you have some patents and IPs, you want to highlight that and tell your staff to talk about it, and you want to train them about it. Any certification, especially in electronic products, you have the CE certification, UL certification. You want to talk about that, you want to tell them the importance of those certifications. And what is the packaging going to be? What is the customer support going to be? Again, these are important factors for the people in the factories to know, I mean in your booths to know. What you want at the booth is enthusiastic staff. You don't want somebody who's sad, eating a noodle on the side, and he's like, why did I ever come to this show? That spoils your impression, that conveys your company's impressions. You want people who are energetic, enthusiastic. You want a working model, a working prototype of the product. If you go into the show, you invested a lot of money and your product doesn't function at that point, then you're screwed, because the buyer is going to say, okay, I have other products to look at. I'm sorry. If you have documentation in terms of catalogs, videos, lifestyle products, certification, award, you want to display that. You want to prepare all of that and make sure you display that at the booth. And you might need a stapler to staple their cards onto your sheet. You want the calculator to calculate if they are ordering 2,000, 10,000 pieces. You want to calculate it quickly. You want tapes, markers, other stationery that you may need. So these are small preparations, but you need a checklist. And everybody can design their own checklist based on their own requirements. You want to design a good poster which highlights the products. You want to put a USP on there. What is the target audience? If you're looking for a distributor, the poster should talk about what is, from a distribution perspective, what are you providing them. If you want a distributor, are you putting on a poster that you want a distributor in a particular country? Or are you looking for a dealership? Or you're looking for a retailer? What are you looking for? It is good to put it on the poster. Your past achievement, if you've raised a Kickstarter campaign $2 million, have you highlighted that? Have you put that on your poster? Have you told in your booth what that unique selling point of your company is? So this is just an example of a poster case study that we show, where there is basically we're giving you an example of where those things can go, where the branding can go, and how the poster should look, and is it visible, not visible.
Ambi was a speaker at our talk a few months ago.
Okay, yeah. Ambi has been an exhibitor.
Yeah. So yeah, you can recognize the product in the middle of the...
Yeah, they're actually very successful. They actually got a few orders at the show, and then they're getting into the next round now.
Okay.
Yeah. Ambi is getting into the next round of fundraising. Okay? Then when you end up at the show, you prepared everything, you've done all your work, and now you ended up at the show. What do you want to do? You want to ask the right questions to the buyers. If you're trying to get feedback, you want to ask questions about the feedback. If you're trying to get orders, you want to be making closing statements. You've discussed everything about the product. Are you ready to make the closing statements? Are you ready to make the close where you say, okay, so what's the next step? Do you want me to send you a sample? Or do you want, what kind of quantity are you going to place the order and by when? You don't have to be afraid to ask those. That's not, nobody minds that, because that's why they are at the show for. And you document that information. You want to write down what are the action items for you. Is it sending a sample? Is it sending a quotation? Is it sending price lists? What do you want to do with each of the buyers? And sometimes I tell people that they should actually categorize every lead into an A, B, C, or a 1, 2, 3, whatever your way it works. It is from a trade show perspective, and Michael here does a ton of trade shows, but they always categorize A plus, B, so that you know what is the approach for A kind of category. A plus is very hot, I know I'm going to close it, so I'm going to pursue it in a different way. Maybe the owner of the company pursues it himself. If it is B, I'm saying, okay, I'm going to put him on a mailing list, maybe it will be there for the future, but you want to categorize. And so you know how much efforts to put into it. You want to direct traffic from at the show. You want to place your website, your social media tags, so that you can drive traffic to your website, to your crowdfunding campaign if it is on, or if you're going to have a crowdfunding campaign. You want to give them a way to interact with you on social media, or I don't know, people do variety of things, from doing the tags to taking photos and tagging the photos, etc. And you want to do all of that. You want to try to do a pre-order with them for getting them onto your social media sites. You also want to do a debrief with your team, because not all the time, it is 3-4 people. You want to meet every evening, you know, to see what is going on, what each of them learned. There might be, maybe you know what is happening with the people that you met, but there might be other important AB clients that the others met, and you want to see what the follow-up is, how it is going. What are the common questions that were asked, which were the difficult questions, how did the team handle it? You want to prepare an FAQ for them maybe. At the end of the day, you realize, okay, I didn't prepare for this. After all the checklists, I still have some challenges. Let me do a debrief. So maybe after the first day, you know that these were the challenges, so they don't happen on the second day. you want to, if there are people that came and you want to make arrangements for meeting again, because you think this is high prospect, it's going to be at the show again the next day, then you want to arrange the second day meetings in the evening. And you want to send in the same evening if possible, send the thank you mail. You came to my booth, thank you for that. I have the price list and all coming to you in the next 24 hours or 48 hours. Whatever that is, you want to put it down and send it out immediately, because then you're going to forget otherwise. And plan for the next day if there is any changes to be made, if the poster has fallen down, if your carpet is coming out, or whatever that is, you want to prepare. So that brings us to the end of it, where the show is done, you come back home, you come back to your own offices, and you say, what do we do now? I mean, do we follow up on all those people? How do we follow up on those? And that is a very important step. So follow-up emails 2 days after the show. We give this recommendation. We tell them that as soon as possible. If it is possible for you to do it immediate, do it immediately. But then don't delay it anywhere more than 2 days. Remember the time zones also. Don't try to send at midnight their time, otherwise you are going to miss them. Or you send it early in the morning so that it gets to them on time when they open their mailboxes. And remind them of, they've met, remember they're at a trade show which has many other, thousands of other exhibitors. You are just one of them. They must have met a lot of them. So you want to convey that uniqueness about yourself. Maybe remind them that particular product that they were interested in, send a photo, send something that you think they will remember about your company, about yourself, so that they remember it. And follow up again, and this is, we're saying early May, but basically follow up after a few days, because the show finishes in April. I hope in 20 days you would have some replies from the buyers, but sometimes it takes time. They're in a sourcing time or they're in a buying time. You want to follow up again in a few weeks to see what has happened.
Yes, thank you very much for the
Thank you.